Hello and welcome back to the Darth Magog channel. I'm your host, the Dark Lord of the Apostates, Darth Magog. Today we have a special scholastic theme episode of Darth Magog where we'll be analyzing the Caleb and Sophia cartoons in school. So we'll be bringing in our in-house childcare expert, Clone Commander Fives. Commander?
G'day there, agents.
We would be honored if you would join us. Welcome back to the Darth Magog channel, Commander. Glad to have you with us. Could you please report your credentials for the audience?
Ah yes, I have a dozen years working in the field of early childhood education. And on top of that, I hold a master's degree in early childhood education with a focus on trauma.
Excellent. Well, these happen to be about early childhood education, so that's great, and needless to say, we XJWs have plenty of trauma. So without further ado, let's begin.
Actually, Lord Magog, it occurred to me that we never actually defined trauma.
Indeed, Commander. What do you propose?
Well, I could give a brief definition of where I'm coming from.
Very good. Permission granted.
Okay, so I actually wanted to break down trauma in two distinct ways. The first is when I'm talking about trauma, I'm specifically referring to someone being subjected to a threatening event or a string of events that they are helpless to change or escape. And the helplessness, whether real or imagined, is really key to whether or not a painful experience will result in lasting trauma, so that's number one. Number two is that, to paraphrase one of the books in my own studies, with trauma, the who matters just as much as the what. And what that means is, who was with you in the trauma? Who was there to help you process it? Was anyone there? And the answers to these questions make a big difference in how severely you're affected by your traumatic experience. And that's one reason among many, why someone might be deeply affected by something that appears small to the untrained eye.
Indeed. Well, that adds a whole nother dimension to this.
Any questions, Lord Magog?
Oh no, I think you unlocked several dark side memories I'm going to have to sort through with a few bottles of Macallan's, I believe.
Well, Commander Fives is here to assist.
Very good, Commander. Let us proceed. Okay, we're going to start with Lesson 47. This is a brand new episode of Caleb and Sophia that just came out with the new annual meeting. It's called Who Should Be My Friend?
Oh, I can already tell this is not going to end well.
You got this, come on. Go, go, go! Yes. Bro, that was good.
So Sophia's torn, I'm guessing, between this JW literature and engaging with her peers.
Pretty much.
Hurry up, we're gonna be late. Let's go.
Poor thing.
Welcome to Witness Childhoods.
Hey there. Oh, hey. Oh, you like to draw? I like your notes. Really cool.
Mom taught me. Pictures help me remember.
Me too. So, looks like we have a talk together.
Yeah.
I'll get in touch to practice soon.
Lydia, we're leaving.
Well, I gotta go. See you later, Sophia.
Hey, bro. Hey, good to see you. I'm glad I was on your team.
My favorite thing was the safari treehouse.
Yeah, it had all the cool jungle animals on the wall. Timmy, I didn't think your team was gonna make it.
I love my prize.
You got a prize? We all did.
Okay, kids, settle down. Time to get started. We have a lot to talk about today.
So basically, they all got to go to some
Before we
event
begin,
and she did not.
For those of you that
That's
participated in
there
the
it is.
science club this weekend, we will be having another camping trip.
Hey, Sophia, come with us.
So anyway, all the kids had badges and prizes and stuff. And it sounded like a lot of fun. And it seems like they really need my help.
I see.
Oh, you see what's wrong with the car?
No, I wish. No, I see why you want to be in the club.
You do?
Of course. We all want to have friends and do fun things.
I just wish I had some kid friends.
Jehovah wants you and me to have friends. But the question you need to ask yourself is, who should be my friend? Let's talk about it at our next family worship. How about you go do some research on Martha?
Martha, a Jewess, the sister of Lazarus, and Mary.
They lived in Bethany.
A village about 2 miles away from Jerusalem.
Which was probably Jesus' home base when he came down from Galilee.
Martha liked to cook.
Yes, she did.
And she would cook for Jesus and all his disciples when they would visit.
Martha makes the best apricot cakes. It's just a fact.
You've always praised me too much, Talia.
Well, if it gets me more apricot cakes, I will continue to praise you.
Brad knows this.
Yeah.
Oh, Talia, did you hear? The teacher Jesus, he's coming back to visit.
The man from Galilee? Are you hosting him again?
Yes, I am. Actually, it's tonight.
I've heard a lot of talk. The Pharisees in Jerusalem, they don't approve of that man. I am not sure it's such a good idea for you to be known as his friend.
Wreck-It Scratch.
Okay, well, I guess I better be getting home. See you two later.
Martha, Jesus is here.
It's your boy, White Jesus.
Every time, every friggin' time.
Wait. Let me get this straight. He wanted you and Mary to sit and learn about God just like the men? A teacher instructing women? A woman's job is to provide food for her household.
That's true. A good woman prepares herself for hard work. That's valuable. That's you, Martha. Don't let this Jesus ruin you with his ideas.
So kind of you.
How is he doing?
Not well. I sent word to Jesus. He will help my brother.
You sent word to Jesus? Have you still not heard? He's angering people with his shocking speech.
This is
He's
such a
claiming
surreal
to be
video.
God's son. He's crazy.
You don't even know the half of
He's
it
loyal
yet.
to Jehovah.
I believe
and
that.
He is our friend.
Jesus came back to Bethany and resurrected Lazarus.
Jesus was a real friend. He cared about Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And he showed them what kind of friend Jehovah can be to us.
But that's not where the story ends. Do you know what some people did after that?
Many of the Jews who saw what he did put faith in him, but some of them went off to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done.
They seemed like Martha's friends, but they hated Jesus.
How do you think Martha dealt with her unbelieving friends?
Jesus is the Christ, the resurrection and the life. He is the Son of God. And he is my friend.
Oh, that mean girl eye roll.
Talia, you've been kind to me in the past, but you don't believe Jesus' teachings. We cannot be friends.
So, Sophia, what do you think Jehovah is teaching you about friendship?
That I have to choose my friends carefully.
And how can you know if someone should be your friend?
If they help me be Jehovah's friend. I am not gonna join the club.
That's my girl.
Oh,
We
ew.
are so proud of you, Sophia.
And Jehovah is proud of you too. Now, how about you go finish up your homework? Mom tells me we have a guest coming over.
Okay.
Sophia! Lydia is here.
Our talk. You like turtles?
I love turtles.
Really? I've got something I want to show you.
Pretty sure that's a tortoise.
He is so cute. You know, Sophia, I think we're going to be friends. Yep, definitely friends.
And that's the end of that chapter.
Uh-huh.
Well, Commander, you looked pretty dumbfounded through the whole blasted thing. Let me see, how do we want to do this? Do you want to do JW context now as usual, or...
Yeah, but I actually had a question about that.
Yes, of course.
I was, kind of surprised. Obviously, a pro-Jesus video. I was expecting the video itself to have a problem with, Jesus inviting the women to learn with the men. I thought that would be something the witnesses would be against.
Actually, there's something interesting about that. I can explain that.
Okay.
So yeah, that is a feature. I think it's a sneaky way of them saying they're not as patriarchal as they're made out to be. I'm not sure, we've talked about this personally, but as you know, Jehovah's Witness culture is very patriarchal.
Yep.
With Jehovah being the head of everything, and the Christ being the head of the kingdom hall, then you have the elders who are all men, and your ministerial servants, then you have the husbands. Every husband in a household is in charge, so to speak, and that's their headship arrangement. Meaning that women are to be in subjection. Not only are you supposed to be, as a Jehovah's Witness wife or child, you're supposed to listen to the father or the husband of the household, it also means you can't teach from the platform. Sort of. Now, they kind of skirt this because all Jehovah's Witnesses are technically considered ministers. So everyone is a minister, but that doesn't necessarily mean you can teach from the platform. So that's why women can't hold positions of power, whether they be actual circuit overseers or even something as simple as a mic runner. They're also not allowed to give talks, with the exception that, I'm sure you noticed that Sophia and I think the other little girl's name was Lydia, they were preparing for a talk. So they don't give talks, they're not speaking from the platform, they're not giving sermons and speeches in that way. They're actually doing demonstrations, so they're having a conversation with one another as an example of how you do things. So that was kind of their sneaky way of saying, hey, we're past all this old school patriarchy stuff, even though they're not. So that was a little bit of context there.
So would it be fair to say that, in JW circles that the women can technically learn with the men, they just don't have nearly as much autonomy with the knowledge?
They can 100% always learn with the men, that's never a question. That's why they do the family Bible study.
They just can't, disseminate the knowledge.
They can't disseminate it in that regard, not publicly with the rest of the congregation. They can conduct their own Bible studies, and in the absence of a father and a husband, they are allowed to conduct the family Bible study. With the exception, you have to wear a head covering to show headship to Jesus and by extension Jehovah, of course, so that's how that works.
Is a family Bible study the same as family worship?
Yes, so that's family worship, yes.
In the end, yes. So, to your other question, let's start with the JW context.
Okay, well you already got that little bit of JW context, so I won't repeat it. Another interesting thing about JW context here is why Sophia wasn't allowed to join the science club. Now, you might think that the Jehovah's Witnesses are anti-science, and surprisingly, you'd be wrong. Jehovah's Witnesses are actually pretty pro-science as long as it doesn't directly contradict their doctrine. So they're creationists, but they're old earth creationists. They don't believe in a literal 6-day week for Jehovah to make the world. They think scripturally that a day could be a longer period of time because time is relative to us and not so much to God. I guess he doesn't care as much, so on and so forth. So that's something there. They don't believe in macroevolution, more microevolution, so quite a few things there. So the problem wasn't with Sophia joining the science club specifically, it was because of her association and her time spent.
Got that, mate?
Exactly. It would be time away from where she'd be able to study, time away from the Kingdom Hall, so that's a thing there. You notice that spiritual pursuits are always the top of the list. And the interesting thing too, you notice very subtly, Dad says, okay, go on and finish your homework. He stopped her in the middle of her homework to do family worship. So that was a higher priority. As opposed to, hey, we're gonna do a family thing, get the homework done first. It was, stop your homework. We did the family worship, now go back and finish your homework before our guests comes.
Oh, I thought he had said do your homework on Martha.
Oh no, he said that before the study. And then he had the study, and then at the end of the study, blink if you missed it, he says, go back and finish your homework, we have a guest coming.
Now, how about you go finish up your homework? Mom tells me we have a guest coming over.
And finally, yes, the association. So on a macro level, yes, they want you to have friends that like Jehovah. And obviously, if someone doesn't meet that requirement, so they're not going to meetings, they're not reaching out for privileges, they'd be considered what we call bad association. So if they're not actively pursuing spiritual things, then they're not the sort of people you want to be around, because they think that bad association spoils good habits. That doesn't always apply just for worldly kids, so needless to say, worldly kids wouldn't apply. Sophia would still be kind, but she wouldn't really seek them out unless they were trying to study. And beyond that, it also applies to other Jehovah's Witnesses. So if they're baptized witnesses and they're not doing very well, or if they're also disfellowshipped, so if they've been kicked out for not following Jehovah's standards, it's encouraging children not to associate with them, aka shunning them.
Yep.
So if you're not Jehovah's friend, you don't get to be my friend, and they're basing it purely on belief. So even Martha and the Talia character, who was a Jew even though she didn't actually exist, there's no Talia in the Bible, by the way. That whole section in the middle, that's just JW fanfiction. There's no Talia at all in the Bible.
So she was created as a buffer.
She was created to be a buffer specifically for this, but yes, that's the context.
Alright, my turn.
Yes, of course, Commander.
Right, so this video is right fucked up.
How so, Commander? From a childcare perspective, we should probably start there.
Yeah, well, I want to start by saying, again, this is all about Jehovah. Which, at this point in the series, is not a surprise, but I feel like it needs to be said again, because they do such a wide arc around that. Like, oh, it's about appropriate friendships, it's about the teachings of Jesus. No, it's not about any of that, actually. It's, again, about Jehovah. I wish I had the line from their little family meeting.
Oh, I think it was something along the lines of, so who do you think should be your friend?
Yeah, that was probably it. Probably what it was. And these videos are sneaky, but this one's really sneaky. Again, because what I've said, running in the wide circles around what the actual friggin' point was. Which, again, what they think Jehovah wants and approves of. To hell with anything else.
Actually, there's no hell in Jehovah's Witnesses, so that would be Gehenna.
Well, Commander 5's is familiar. I've traveled the galaxy.
Of course.
Oddly, something that really stuck out to me was the music. The music was very soft and uplifting throughout almost the whole video. It's very misleading, and that alone felt very manipulative. But anyway, childcare perspective before I go far off into the music. It's silly to have to say this, but it's critical for all stages of development for children to have various relationships. Specifically to have relationships with the peers. And yeah, Sophia's being robbed of that. She's clearly feeling it at the beginning and the middle of the video, where she's all by herself and she's the only one on the bus and everyone else has to go on the science club outing and come back with prizes. And it's not about the prizes, they're all bonding. They're all bonding over these toys and experiences that they've got, and she's just left out. And that's, especially over and over and over, which we can safely assume is her experience, that's really damaging. That's really damaging to self-esteem, because even if she, and she doesn't know this, but even if Sophia did know she was in a cult, let's say, she's still not old enough to where she can really separate that experience from herself. According to her brain, it's something wrong with her, no matter what logic there might be, contrary to what she can understand. Hell, it's hard even as an adult, as a relatively well-adjusted adult, if you have a painful rejection experience, not to internalize it, not to make it about yourself, something wrong with you. And putting that on an 11-year-old, roughly?
I think 10 or 11 is the age group.
Who doesn't have the life experience and the knowledge of, yes, I'm being raised in a cult, to have any defenses against it. Yeah, that causes problems. And then I actually didn't even think to wonder if the JWs might be anti-science, because it was very obvious that it wasn't about the science club specifically. It was about how they didn't want her to associate with worldly children, non-JW children. And that bit towards the end where she does that Martha story, and it's all, I'm not going to join the club, and the music swells, and it's supposed to be this proud moment, and her parents are proud of her, and the dad has the unmitigated audacity to say, that's Miguel, over his daughter not joining something that could be beneficial to her. And she really might have been interested in doing these things and gotten joy from it and gotten fulfillment from it, and it's really gross. And now I'm going into a touch of personal Commander 5's history from back on Camino.
Right.
Because as a cadet, I too wasn't allowed much time to branch out and take risks and have experiences and try new things and meet people. And that was in a very secular context. It didn't have anything to do with the religion or the supposed feelings of a sky being or anything like that. And it's still bad and damaging enough. So I can only imagine the damage done when you're putting this into a, oh, if you don't behave this way, you're gonna make sad or make angry the sky god. That, again, you can never actually talk to. You can never get any confirmation from how he feels.
Right, I noticed that too when I was a Padawan. I had to reject several invitations. I wasn't a disliked youngling. I was invited to a lot of clubs, sleepovers, birthdays, and just not permitted to go because we didn't celebrate birthdays, even our own. You can't go to the Christmas party. You don't celebrate Halloween. So it was a lot of time in the library, a lot of time not going there, and weekends at home, alone.
Yeah, I also want to go into Sofia'S Temperament. One of the reasons why myself as a young clone, why it was so damaging to me, is because with the temperament I had, I was a very shy child, a very anxious child, and I needed all the support and help that I could have gotten to branch out and have some other experiences and make friends with cadets my own age. And Sophia doesn't seem like she's struggling that much in that particular way. She definitely does present as an anxious child. She's able to be in school and exist relatively comfortably and happy in her environment, and she's not usually terrified to be there, is what I'm getting at. She doesn't seem to be riddled with phobias, is what I'm saying. She seems pretty soft-spoken and pretty unassuming, so I'm thinking she would benefit from a little extra support to try things, to talk with people, to pursue different interests, and she's not getting that. They're pulling her back into an insular little world with an insular religion. And only people who are also actively practicing Jehovah's Witnesses are people that she should associate with. So her world isn't expanded at all.
Not in the least, Fives. Not in the least.
Oh, also, it might be worth noting, in the Martha story at the end where she dumps Talia, the non-existent Talia, and says, you don't believe what I believe, we can't be mates. And let's remove that from the Jesus context and the Jesus story for a minute. Saying I can't be mates with you because you don't believe what I believe is just, we don't have the same religion. Not a very tolerant thing we want to be upholding. So there's that. I don't know if you have any JW context around that.
No, I mean, just what the video said. We only want to associate with people who are in the truth. Same deal with the marriage thing. You're only allowed to marry within the Lord. So they draw the lines not on race or ethnicity, but they draw it on religion. The mentality is very much, it's us versus the world. Doesn't matter if you're black or white or brown or whatever, you just gotta be a Jehovah's Witness and you're good. If not, nope, we don't want that. Well, that being said, there is one more request by the audience, extremely requested. It's Lesson 33, Make Jehovah Happy.
Oh, this is a school episode everyone was asking for.
It is indeed.
Exciting.
From the beginning, Jehovah has always cared about people.
Debatable, but alright.
Sadly, many of them have caused him great pain. But some have made him very happy. Jesus always made Jehovah happy.
It's your boy.
Very pale again.
White Jesus and White Satan.
Tried everything to get Jesus to do what was wrong.
If you are a son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread.
It is written, man must not live on bread alone.
This is taken straight out of 5-year-olds in the schoolyard.
It's canon though.
I know, I know.
If you are a son of God, throw yourself down.
They don't sound remotely like they speak in Aramaic.
For the angels will carry you on their hands, so you may not strike your foot against a stone. Prove it to them.
Again, it is written, you must not put Jehovah your God to the test.
Just trying not to laugh.
See,
laugh as you must.
Its glory. It is mine, and I give it to whomever I wish. And all these things I will give to you if you fall down and do an act of worship to me.
You can meme these things so hard.
Perhaps we should.
Go away.
Perhaps.
For it is written, it is Jehovah your God you must worship, and it is to him alone you must render sacred service.
Jesus was determined to make Jehovah happy. But this story isn't over. This is your story too.
What do you mean, Dad?
Well, what you do can make Jehovah happy. Our text this morning, Proverbs 27:11. Do you remember what that says?
Oh yeah, it says, "Be wise, my son, and make my heart rejoice."
Good memory, Sophia. That scripture is talking about you. What you do every day, not only big things, but also small things you do, can make his heart rejoice. Remember today's text, children. I know you'll make Jehovah happy. Let's pray.
Okay, kids, it's a pop quiz today.
Yes!
Now, Sophia, if you ace this test, you'll be #1 in the whole class.
Did teachers just announce that?
It's not a good thing to announce.
That's a bad teacher.
I'll make her more of a target.
We already know she's being bullied.
It doesn't seem to be relevant this episode.
No, the bullying was last week.
Even if she's not being bullied, it's just embarrassing to be called out like that.
You got this one. Yeah, here. Hey, Sophia, you want the answer?
That stinks, you lost. Hey, Caleb, you want to play? Come on, it's fun.
Forget it. He's a loser. Let me play with it.
The way they
gonna
draw
play
some
or
of these
not?
worldly children is just absurd.
No!
Admirable recovery.
Caleb. Caleb. You gonna play?
Hey, Sophia, you want the answer?
That's disturbing.
That's why we're here, Commander.
No thanks.
Yeah, these angels have nothing to do other than watch these two specific children.
Not just the angels, don't forget your boy is ruling in heaven. That's your boy, White Jesus.
Aren't Jesus and Jehovah considered to be one of the same?
No Trinity here. Put that away, Commander.
Okay, I didn't think so.
We don't do that here. There's your boy, and there's your Sky Dad.
Well, he's sitting on that throne every day. Hope he cleans it. Well, boy, I got a question, Lord Magog.
Of course. Is this pre-context or post?
Pre.
Alright, pre-context.
You know that little moment when the dad drops off the kids at the school and they have a little prayer huddle?
Correct.
Is that normal? That an everyday occurrence?
I mean, I guess it probably should be. If you have a very spiritual family, then yeah, but is that a thing I grew up with in the Jehovah Temple? Not really, so...
Right, just jumped out at me.
It's not abnormal, but it's usually a before meals thing and a before you leave sort of thing, I don't know.
Right, what context you got, sir?
Alright, cultural context on this one. So, I'm sure you probably noticed that the Jesus story, he was being tempted by all the random things. Like, you can have your angels fly you around, you can make food, or I can give you the whole world, because I, Satan, rule the world. Which is actually something they do believe. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Satan was cast out of heaven and controls the world. Except when it's convenient for Jehovah to be fully in power, but until then, all the tempting things in the world are Satan, and anything he can do to bring you away from spiritual pursuits is kind of his big thing. That's kind of the big message. You'll notice they did bring up a couple of other things. You saw the action-packed video game, like the COD Halo ripoff that Caleb was interested in. He's the stereotypical Dennis the Menace young boy who has impulse control issues, he's hyperactive, he likes to run around. As opposed to Sophia, she's the Lisa Simpson, very academically gifted, and really excited about school. So they put those down as temptations for them both. On the face of things, I know it looks like it was supposed to be a cheating episode, but they were presented at the same time, that video games and cheating were on the same level, and that's not really what it was. Cheating is bad, we can all agree with that. That's probably why the animators framed it that way. But the thing was, for Caleb, it was a choice of entertainment. You can see the little boys with the sunken eyes, it implies they'd spend too much time on those games, even in lieu of sleeping. That's what they were focused on, and Caleb had the opportunity to be like one of them, be like the esports guys, and then that would be his path, as opposed to Sophia, who was going academically. She wanted that degree. You saw her staring at the young women in the window with the degree in the poster.
I saw what she was looking at, but I couldn't tell what the person in the picture was holding.
Yeah, she was holding up a college degree or something. So she really wanted that, and she was giving the success speech in her little fantasy and all, and the moral there is you don't want to put worldly pursuits ahead of spiritual pursuits. Success in the system means nothing compared to the fact that you will have everything in Jehovah's system. Jesus didn't give in to Satan because he's like, yeah, I could have the whole world, but I could be ruling as king in heaven with my father where I'm over the whole universe. And that's my goal. And that's supposed to be a Jehovah's Witness goal, to say, the system is whatever, but I get the whole future. I get biological immortality in the future. I'm going to have perfect life and never die. And I'm going to have all the time to do whatever I want as long as I sacrifice for spiritual things now. So that's the context.
Okay, so back to Caleb really briefly. So they're not really so much anti-video game as they're anti-anything that interferes with spiritual matters, yeah?
Correct. They're not very fond of violent video games, but even Bethel had a Mario knockoff, so video games within themselves aren't considered evil, but it's your choice of entertainment if you pick the violent or sexual ones, so on and so forth.
Right, this can include your context.
That's all the context I can possibly give. Fire away, Commander.
Well, the thing that's lingering with me the most, well, as you said, we can all agree that cheating is bad. It ought to be discouraged. What I have a blooming problem with is that they portray her cheating as her direct path to academic success, and a little speech where she's telling the other people they can succeed. Clearly, that can only be accomplished by cheating, according to the filmmaker. So, it's very manipulative, rather than just stopping at, if this video was really about cheating, as we know it's not, but if it really was about cheating, the lesson of don't cheat on your math test, it would have ended right there. Or it would have ended with some sort of social consequence, or if she's not caught, some internal consequence where she's feeling bad and doesn't deserve a status as top of the class. And it doesn't do that. It just goes to her having a lot of academic success and encouraging other people to pursue their academic dreams. So that's what they're saying is the bad thing, pretty directly by implying you can only get there via cheating.
I hadn't considered that. I saw the academics. I didn't think about the cheating being the only way there. That's clever.
Well,
That's why Fives commands the 1914th Battalion.
So that's my main takeaway. Also again, I'm gonna say this every single time, every single video, again, encouraging these children to stifle their passions and stifle anything that's not related to spiritual pursuits for the sake of Jehovah. And I know that those shots of them in the car on the way to school where Caleb's looking at the superhero and Sophia's looking at the college degree, the video presents them as temptations, apparently on par with Satan. But what's really sad, these kids want these things and they're not allowed to have them. And for why? I mean, we know why in this context, but yeah, way to not ever allow children to learn who they are and learn about themselves as they grow.
Yeah, there's a term for it.
Very psychologically stunted. What were they going to say?
Oh, that's the term for it. The new personality. You put away the things of old and you want to be made over in the new personality of Jehovah.
Nope, that's gross, sir.
That's what they call it. It's not my fault.
I know.
It's not my fault, agents.
So, basically, it's just a way of discarding everything that you were before. Does that happen when you're baptized, or is that some sort of spiritual awakening?
It's a constant thing. If there's something that isn't spiritually right, you want to discard it. That's why they call it clothing yourself in the new personality. You want to start showing these things before you're baptized. Otherwise, you won't qualify for baptism. So, it's a constant improvement measure.
Oh, did Jehovah's Witnesses have something against Cheetos? Something against junk food?
Not specifically. Everything in moderation, of course, but not specifically.
I didn't really think so. Just that shot of the bully, his video game opponent, was just losing and popping Cheetos in his mouth, wondering if that was a symbolism or something.
He's just a sloppy worldly child is all.
So hyperbolic. Anyway, not new, especially with Dad's narration and all those shots about how there's Jehovah, there's the people, and some people cause Jehovah great pain, and others make him happy, or whatever he said. You know, again, it's all about managing Jehovah's feelings. Like, you'd think a literal god could be entrusted to manage his own shit. But again, it's all about making literal kids worry about something that, in the end, they don't have any control over. As badly as these folks want people to believe otherwise, you can never have control over how somebody feels. And I'm talking about actual relationships where you can influence and impact how somebody might feel. I'm not claiming we don't have an impact on each other, but you don't control the outcome of somebody's feelings. And it's really damaging when somebody does that as a parent or an authority figure. It's very damaging to kids and it happens a lot. How could you have done yada yada? I'm so ashamed of you. That sort of chatter? It's bad enough with humans, but attributing it to an all-powerful god who has fireballs with children's name on them?
Our Heavenly Father, as they say.
Like I said in previous videos, it's someone who can't be confronted, so you never actually know how Jehovah feels or doesn't feel. You always just gotta be on edge.
That's JW life in a nutshell. Not even childhood. Life.
Yeah, just life.
Thanks for coming to school with us, XJW agents.
Very apt, very exciting, sort of.
Once again, we'd like to thank our guest host, Clone Commander Fives, for... I guess you're not a guest host at this point. You've done 3 of these. You're a recurring character at least.
I'm a recurring character indeed. My whole planet is very proud.
Agreed. Well, that being said, XJW agents, what do you think of these Caleb and Sophia episodes? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Until next time, remember, the elders may be watching you, but Darth Magog is watching the Watchtower.